Okay, we are live. What is going on, guys? Psycho Retros 2 coming back at you with another episode of the Retro Rumble podcast. I'm here with Stefano898, and there's a secret that I just found out about a few minutes ago that I haven't even told Stefano about at all. I have not given him any information on this whatsoever because a part of this episode is going to be his reaction to this announcement. So, via the lovely source of information for Nintendo, that is RGT85. Go subscribe to him if you haven't already. Through him, he revealed that there was a leak on 4chan. And for those of you who don't know what 4chan is, well, you don't really need to know what it is, but as an example of how reliable this source is, was back in January of 2017, about 2 weeks before that big Nintendo event where they debuted the Switch and showed it off with all of its functionalities and capabilities for the first time. About 2 weeks before that, the same author who made this post on 4chan. 4chan's kind of like Reddit, basically. So what this source gave back then was a list of games that were going to be launch titles or soon or close after launch titles, basically games that were going to be announced at that event and soon after. And literally every single game on that list was correct. All of them. They were released within the first 3 months of the Switch. Anywhere from Super Bomberman R to Street Fighter 2 The Final Challengers to Mario Kart 8 Deluxe. They were all announced and released in that time frame. So I found out about this through RGT85, and what this post discusses is basically what we discussed in episode 2 of the Retro Rumble podcast. Nintendo's E3 lineup. What Nintendo is going to announce this June at E3. So the E3 rumors are already leaking out, at least for Nintendo. So first off, the article, this post reads that he's currently working on setup for Nintendo's E3. What that means, we don't know. But he did say that expect to see only Nintendo Switch related things at E3. Because they're trying to quietly hush away the console that was in the 3DS. And basically trying to replace the 3DS with the Switch. So making the Switch the only major Nintendo console right now. So now let's get to the nitty-gritty. Right now, through RGT85, I have the entire list of games that were on this. First off, some obvious ones that we could kind of expect. First up, Metroid Prime 4. Expecting to see maybe some gameplay, or at the very least, an update on its progression in development. Next, the rumors for the Pokemon RPG are that it's going to function kind of like the DS versions of the game, where it's going to be two different versions. Like 2 games releasing simultaneously, but they'll basically be the same experience, just with a couple different legendary Pokemon. And it'll feature the 8th gen. So it'll be a brand new generation of Pokemon with this new Pokemon RPG. And then lastly, of this set of 3, Bayonetta 3, most likely going to be end of 2018, possibly early 2019 release. Most likely going to get some gameplay out of that. So, what are your thoughts on that, Stefano? What are your thoughts on those 3?
Well, I think Pokemon could be a really successful game coming out. It definitely will be the first home console Pokemon ever created. Um, and I think some gameplay of Metroid Prime 4 would be pretty substantial. Um, since all they showed us last time was just basically a number with the name Metroid Prime 4. And for Bayonetta 3, I can't really say anything about Bayonetta 3, because I know nothing about the Bayonetta series. But I'm definitely excited for some Pokemon gameplay.
Yep. As am I. I've been hyped for this Pokemon game since they announced it that it was in development. I've also been hyped up for Metroid Prime 4. I've grown to love Samus. I've seen gameplay. I've played the original Metroid, Super Metroid. Um, just a lot of fun games to go back and play. I never really got into the Metroid Prime series, so I'll definitely have to do some research on that before I pick up Metroid Prime 4. But with the amount of hype that is surrounding that game, will be incredible once it releases. As for the Pokemon RPG, same with you. I'm excited to see the gameplay. I'm excited to pick up the game. The last Pokemon game that I legitimately got and played was Heart Gold on the DS. So I've been waiting to feel a new Pokemon experience that I haven't felt in a long time.
The only Pokemon game I haven't really even played any Pokemon game outside of the mobile game Pokemon Go. That's really the only Pokemon game. I've never actually experienced a tried and true Pokemon game. So I'll be excited to pick this one up.
Alright, quick little side note here. Another great source for Nintendo Switch information is Switch Force. What Switch Force revealed today is a rumor regarding a different source, not this same list. It was a different source that may have leaked and has rumored the Crash Bandicoot Insane Trilogy coming to Nintendo Switch in 2018, with a brand new Crash Bandicoot game coming in 2019. So I feel like that will. I know you were wanting to play the Insane Trilogy on PS4. You never got around to it because you don't have a PS4.
Yeah. Yeah. I feel like since the people who made the Insane Trilogy, I believe the company's called Naughty Dog. I'm not entirely too sure about that, but I'm very excited to play Crash, the Insane Trilogy, and the new upcoming possible game. If these theories are correct, I'm excited to play those games. From what I understand, the difficulty level is kind of similar to Tropical Freeze, from what I've heard.
Yeah, by the way, you are completely off. Naughty Dog did not make Crash Bandicoot.
My bad.
They hinted Crash Bandicoot in the Uncharted series with Uncharted 4. Obviously, Nathan Drake in that cutscene where he's playing Crash Bandicoot.
My mistake.
But Naughty Dog, I'm not 100% sure on the developer of Crash Bandicoot, but I know it wasn't Naughty Dog.
Alright.
The next couple, get me very excited. First off, The Legend of Zelda Skyward Sword will get a HD remaster for the Nintendo Switch. This game originally released in the later years of the Wii. And it required a Wii Motion Plus controller, which a lot of people didn't have access to. And it was very hard to control. Personally, I think having the Joy-Con and the gyroscope on the Joy-Con that can be toggled will help a lot of people get back into this game.
Kind of like how Wii U had the HD remake or the HD buff of Wind Waker, and I believe Wind Waker was on the GameCube originally.
Yes, Wind Waker debuted on the GameCube, and it was shown on the Wii U. So maybe the next generation moves forward with the Wii's Skyward Sword moving to the Switch. Um, another game that will definitely have a lot of people excited. There's somebody speaking to me right now that will be very excited about this. No, it's not Super Mario Maker. It's Super Mario Maker 2 coming to the Nintendo Switch. That's the rumor that this list has provided. A completely new game, not just a port of the Wii U version, but a completely new game with enhanced features and just an overhaul of Mario goodness for us to enjoy. That's the one I would assume you were hoping for on this list.
Oh yeah, I was hoping either a port or a kind of like how Splatoon 2 had. Like everybody thought when the Switch had its first trailer that the Splatoon gameplay, the quote unquote tournament / E3 gameplay, or not E3 esports gameplay. Everybody thought it was just a port of the Wii U version, just like buffed. People were speculating. I've heard people speculate that they're not going to they're not going to port Super Mario Maker, but they're just going to make a more redefined version, or a better version with better controls, better creation controls, and everything. And hopefully, I know that 4 aesthetic games were available on the first Mario Maker, with the original NES version, then Mario 3, then Mario World, and then Mario U. So I'm hoping that maybe those to come back, and maybe even one more, hopefully.
Yeah, I agree with you. I feel like a port would have been fine, just with some updated controls to fit the Switch's capabilities.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm glad to see that it's in development, or it's rumored to be in development, I should say.
Mm-hmm.
Next is another one. Another one that I have been excited for since the Switch released, and hopefully they will give some announcement of it. That is Super Smash Brothers.
Yeah.
So what RGT claims through this 4chan link is that this Super Smash Brothers for the Nintendo Switch will be similar in port. It will not be a new game. It will be a port of the Wii U version, but it will be similar to Mario Kart 8 or Hyrule Warriors, in the sense that stuff from the 3DS version and the Wii U version will combine with all the DLC available right from the start, and having every single stage from the Wii U and the 3DS versions come together, and just overall with some new enhanced features. I think that would surpass even Odyssey as a system seller. Because Smash Bros. Definitely, if any Nintendo game defines multiplayer, it's Smash Bros.
Yeah. And hopefully they make it to where I'm sure they could make it to where it is split Joy-Con, split screen. And hopefully we see some new faces in this Smash game if it comes to Switch. Hopefully I'm hoping, the 3 characters I'm hoping for is Inkling Boy, Inkling Girl, and hopefully, I'm doubting it, but hopefully Toad as a playable character.
I would expect if they did use Toad, it would be, of course, Captain Toad, from the Captain Toad Treasure Tracker game that was on the Wii U. That was a huge success. So I feel like Captain Toad could definitely be a playable character. I could see the Inklings, but I wouldn't see them separated. Kind of like Robin from Fire Emblem in the Wii U and 3DS versions. since there are 8 possible like attires that you can switch from in Smash Bros. For Wii U and 3DS.
They would
Robin,
basically just be different skins.
Robin would be Robin is a male and female, depending on your on the skin that you use. So
Yeah.
I feel like you could have like 4 different colors for Inkling Boy, and then the next 4 attires would be the same colors on an Inkling Girl.
I got you.
Next would be is just some rumors. Um, the next 3 are extremely like highly rumored, may or may not happen. First up, Luigi's Mansion 3. Now the first Luigi's Mansion game came out for the GameCube early 2000s, and it was a huge success. You go on eBay, cheapest you could find Luigi's Mansion is probably $50. It's an extremely popular game that was never really remastered. It never was, and then having the series return in 2012 with Luigi's Mansion Dark Moon on the 3DS, that didn't do as hot. So hopefully Luigi's Mansion 3, if it comes to the Switch, would definitely change the game and reboot the franchise.
Yeah. I never really even I've never really played any of the Luigi's Mansion games, but I heard they were I heard the first one was very successful, and I think like for split screen for the Switch, I think maybe Captain Toad or maybe even regular Toad could make an appearance for split screen multiplayer.
The next 2, I'll just mention them both at the same time. WarioWare for Nintendo Switch, and Animal Crossing for Switch. Everybody's been clamoring for an Animal Crossing game on the Switch. Animal Crossing New Leaf. Animal Crossing never really showed a lot of its presence, really outside of the Villager in Smash Bros. Didn't really have that much of a presence in the overall Wii U lineup, so they definitely tried with the Animal Crossing mobile app that just released a few months ago. Tried to renew the franchise head on with a brand new game on iOS devices. Nintendo is definitely branching off to kind of team with Apple and Android, like the mobile area of gaming, in having apps like Miitomo, Super Mario Run, Animal Crossing, and the upcoming, of course, Mario Kart Tour, available in 2019. I feel like that was the start of something. Like, they tried to bring Animal Crossing back on mobile devices, maybe as an experiment. If the mobile app did well, maybe they could maybe they start working on a Switch, like a full game for the Switch. Maybe it was that's my opinion. Maybe it was an experiment.
I never really got into the Animal Crossing series. I downloaded the iOS app for maybe a few days. I tried it. I never really got into it. But I can see the enjoyment some people could have out of the game.
Yeah, yeah, as could I. Like, a lot of people want Animal Crossing on the Switch. Like, a lot of people. There's a huge fan base of Animal Crossing. And speaking of fan base, the Super Smash Bros. Brawl on the Wii was Wario's first appearance in the series, and I feel like WarioWare on the Wii, that game gave a signal to Nintendo, like, okay, Wario is actually a beloved character. We can work with him. So maybe uh, bringing Wario back to the Smash roster with a Smash game on the Switch uh, could be
Hmm.
used as an experiment to get people who may have not played the Wii U version or Brawl to get to know Wario as a character, because a lot of his character is shown off in his model and his fight style in Smash Bros. Um, so I feel like if they get to know him with Smash and some other games revolving Mario, uh, they could definitely bring him over and bring WarioWare as a franchise to the Switch, because that has a huge fan base.
Hmm. Um, you ever think Mario Party would ever come to the Switch ever?
Uh, yeah, it it won't be a port. My guess, if they're gonna do
Hmm.
it anytime soon, it won't be a new game. It would be kind of like on the 3DS. They just recently released Mario Party: The Top 100, which is just the top 100 mini games in Mario Party history, all
I got you.
bundled into one juicy goodness of a game on the 3DS. So maybe
Hmm.
they bring that over to the Switch as a game. Maybe a $45-50 price tag on it. Uh, as an experiment, and then later on, if that sells really well on the Switch, maybe they'll work on a brand new game,
Hmm.
or maybe a remaster of the old ones. Like, that's something that hasn't really been done. They've brought back a couple of the mini games in different ways, but they've never really straight up remastered an old one. That would be great, especially for like Virtual Console. If they're thinking about GameCube and N64 Virtual Console uh, on the Switch, they could definitely do like Mario Party 2. They used Mario Party 2 at the Nintendo World Championships last year.
Hmm.
So maybe they're looking at it. Maybe that was a tease. I don't know.
The reason I ask, even though this would probably never happen this would probably never come to a Mario Party game, but I remember on the DS when I had New Super Mario Bros. The mini games. I'm like the mini games. There was one of the mini games I really loved, and it was Luigi's Casino. It was basically just cards, like poker, but it was with Luigi, and he would always beat you all the time, and only sometimes you would get like really good cards and beat him. I found that really fun.
Yeah, yeah. There are a lot of games like I still to this day enjoy playing. Like to this day I still enjoy playing the DS, like Mario Party DS, um,
Hmm.
with my friends. Like we've been doing that for probably 10 years now, and we still enjoy it. Um, so to answer your question, yeah, but like in time, I
Yeah, I
think Mario
got you.
Party will come to
Maybe in
Switch.
like E3 2019, maybe.
Maybe next year's E3. Maybe just a reveal at a direct, or maybe just a
Hmm.
reveal out of the water. Who knows?
Yeah.
Who knows? Nintendo's really unpredictable at this stage. Um,
Hmm.
and we're gonna get right into the final three. Uh, two games that they've been confirmed, but they're rumored to have some form of presence at E3. Yoshi and Fire Emblem. Yoshi,
Oh yeah.
Woolly World on the Wii U, huge success. Brought co-op to Yoshi games, so maybe I don't know if Yoshi for Switch is going to be a direct port of Woolly World, or if it's a brand new game or a sequel to Woolly World. Maybe Woolly World 2. All they've got right now is Yoshi in development for Nintendo Switch. So
Hmm.
Yoshi, what is it just going to be called Yoshi? Like I have no idea.
Like I doubt it would be Yoshi's Island, but I think a possible sequel, like the best possible sequel, I think would be a sequel to Woolly World. But I would also love to see just a um a new IP for Yoshi, like a completely new um idea for Yoshi games.
Yeah. And then for Fire Emblem, that game's that game was rumored for months. Then the developer said, "We're working on it." So now we're just waiting on more info.
Hmm. I never really got
Uh,
into Fire Emblem, and I really don't know what it is. But I would like to learn more.
yeah, Fire Emblem kind of is like Final Fantasy esque,
Hmm.
but it's got a lot more anime to it.
I got you.
Like instead of like just being a straight up realistic cartoon like Final Fantasy, or bringing a
Hmm.
huge franchise like Kingdom Hearts, Final Fantasy is its own thing, and it's like a
Hmm.
JRPG type. Yeah, I would call it a JRPG. Um, like if basically if they took this game series and made an anime out of it, it would basically be the
Hmm.
same thing.
I got you.
Um, so yeah, those are the big first party things, and the last thing on this list was Retro Studios. Um, what Retro Studios has been quiet for a while. Um, I've heard of the company before, but like not on a major scale. But
Hmm.
they've been quiet for a long time, and the rumor is that at E3 this year for Nintendo, they will unveil a Switch exclusive horror game. No one
Oh.
knows what this is, but that's the rumor. Uh, Horror has not been great on the Switch yet. It really hasn't.
Yeah.
So I feel like they need to pull out something big. And if that's what Retro Studios
Yeah.
is doing, then they'll win over the horror genre on the Switch.
Mm.
The question is, they said it's a brand new horror game. So I don't know if that's going to be a completely new IP, completely brand new everything, or will there be a horror icon? Like Gun Media took up Jason
Yeah.
Voorhees and made Friday the 13th extremely like it won horror game of the year by Bloody Disgusting. Um,
Hmm.
like it beat out Dead by Daylight, it beat out The Evil Within 2, it beat out everything.
Hmm.
So
Outlast
that
too. Yeah.
yeah, Outlast. Speaking of which, that's another game that's coming out this year. The entire Outlast series is coming to Nintendo Switch soon.
Nice.
Um, so like a horror game, since it's a new horror game, I expect it's gonna be their own thing. But I'm hoping for something, a brand new game, brand new mechanics, brand new everything. But if
Hmm.
it revolves around something that we've seen, and if anything, and there's a game, I'm gonna break this down. I'm gonna break my theory down.
Hmm.
There's a game. It's called Dead by Daylight, also known as
Yeah.
Cash Grab the movie, the video game. Uh,
Hmm.
they Halloween of 2016, uh, on PC only, released Michael Myers and a Halloween expansion for $7.99. Okay,
Hmm.
you release it on Halloween. Nice. You get an icon into your game. That's going to compete
Yeah.
with the soon to be released Friday the 13th, as they hoped.
Hmm.
But when Friday the 13th didn't release in October, November, December, and we get all the way to like April, and then Gun Media reveals May 26th. It's set in stone. We're releasing it digitally only May 26th. Guess what released on June 16th? Dead by Daylight on consoles. So, and then soon after that, they released the Michael Myers DLC. I think it was early July when it released on consoles, $7.99. Then for another $7.99, they released Leatherface.
Yeah.
That didn't go as well because it was basically an exact reskin of a different killer from Dead by Daylight called the Hillbilly. It was basically literally the exact same thing, just looked like Leatherface. Even had the same sound effects as the Hillbilly. So then they released the Nightmare on Elm Street DLC with Freddy Krueger. It was remake based. It was based on the 2007 remake. And that sold surprisingly well. Like, it did really well. And now here they are a few weeks ago with the release of the Pig Killer from the Saw franchise. So, let's go down that list one more time. You had a bunch of generic killers to start it off. Then you release Michael Myers. Yeah. Then you release Leatherface. Then you release Freddy Krueger. Then you release Jigsaw and the Pig Killer. They don't have access to Jason Voorhees. There's still one left. There's only one. The question is, and I don't think this will happen. Don't quote me on this. I don't think this will happen. But I have a small glimmer of hope that in the near future, something, and the Nintendo Switch is the perfect way to do it. It, the video game.
Nice. Yeah. It, the video. Yeah.
An RPG where it basically takes you through the 2017 reboot. Kind of like, I don't really know what to compare it to. Like the Spider-Man games years ago, like the ones that were based off the movies, and they took you through the movie.
Oh yeah.
Like Spider-Man 2 on the GameCube, quite possibly was my favorite GameCube game. Like, not even gonna lie. I played the mess out of that game, and now my disc for the GameCube version is broken, and for some reason it will not read the save file and the game itself past a certain point. So once you get to a certain point in the game, it stops. Like, the whole thing shuts down and it stops. But what I was able to play, I really enjoyed. And it's because I watched the movie, and I was able to, like, try and replay the movie in my head while still playing the game. I feel like if the Switch and Retro Studios somehow pulled something out of their butts and got the It license, and did basically one of those games, like I can't remember what studio made the Spider-Man games, but that would sell really well. That would win the horror genre, like, well over. Like, an It RPG would destroy Friday the 13th. It would destroy Dead by Daylight. Yeah. Because it's the only one left. Like, there's some minor stuff like there's some more minor franchises like Scream and stuff like that, but that doesn't
Yeah.
hold a candle to iconic killers like Michael Myers, Jason Voorhees, Freddy Krueger. A dude in a white mask doesn't hold up to the dude in a white mask that is Michael Myers.
Hmm.
He doesn't hold up to the dude in the white mask that is Jason Voorhees. Like,
Yeah.
Pennywise is like the only horror icon right now that is not even part of a video game at all. The closest thing we have to a video game form of it is a VR experience on YouTube that lasts about 5 minutes, where you can't do anything.
Yeah.
That's the closest thing we have to it right now. So, I feel like that would be the horror game for the next 10 years. Like, you want a good multiplayer horror game? Friday the 13th. Okay? You want a good single player game? Friday the 13th's got some pretty bad single player. Like,
Yeah.
it's good if you want to try something out, if you want to get some work in as Jason. Or if you just want to grind for XP. You still get XP from single player. But there's no story. A story-driven It video game would sell. There's no doubt about it. I would buy it. I know you would buy it. So,
Yeah.
that would be the single-player horror game. Like, buy Outlast. Goodbye to all those guys. They're all done if it comes out. If, like,
Yeah.
it gets a video game. So,
Yeah.
going back on topic. Again, I don't think that will happen. That was really long-winded. Almost pointless.
Yeah.
But that's my hope, but it's not. I know it's not going to happen. It's probably going to be something Japan related. Like
Hmm.
no walking with the tree, the video game.
Yeah.
That might be what it is. Where you're running away from a bush. Even though that already exists, that's called Fortnite.
Yeah. What I fear is gonna happen with all of these rumors, and if all of these rumors come true, what I fear is gonna happen is because you said the Switch is supposed to have a 10-year, lifespan. What I fear when all these games finally come out, like say mid 2019, like then. Well, I'm guessing
Third
they
party.
could.
I know
They could surprise
exactly what they're going. I know exactly what your question is. You're saying
Mhm.
is that the list we just went through.
Yeah.
What's gonna go all the way through? Like, how
Yeah.
are they gonna last 10 years as the Switch being their console? How are they gonna last 10 years if all these first party titles release all at once? One, they
Yeah.
won't. They're gonna take some time with these.
Hmm.
It'll probably take about 3 or 4 years before the entire list we just went through gets released.
Yeah.
But even if it takes less time than that, they can sign on, like we discussed in the previous episode, GTA, Fortnite.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, Fortnite would be free, but like, there's so many
Virtual
third-party-
console.
Yeah, Virtual Console. Bring GameCube Virtual Console. Bring N64 Virtual Console. Bring NES and SNES. You've got the technology to bring them over into HD, because you did it already.
Mhm.
They're called the mini consoles. NES Mini, or
Yeah.
NES Classic, and SNES Classic. You did it already.
Yeah.
Just put those things on the Switch, and you'll be fine
just
for at least a year.
Just imagine playing Super Mario 64 or Super Mario Sunshine, or even Ocarina of Time on your Switch, Majora's Mask on your Switch. All
That's a
these
game.
different games.
That's a game I've
on
been
your
thinking about for
Switch.
a while. I think E3 2019 will be the year that we get Majora's Mask remastered for the Switch, because we already got it for 3DS, and it did okay. So, Majora's Mask, straight up remaster, like not a port, like a full. Because what the 3DS version was, it was a port. When you got down to it, it was a port. What we need for that game and for the Zelda franchise is a complete remaster, which is what I'm hoping they do with Skyward Sword, because you can make the graphics pop a lot more on the Switch than you could with the Wii. So that's what I feel like. That's what I hope the Zelda franchise is gonna do in the future. In terms of like how Nintendo's going to apply it to the Switch, you could literally have system seller after system seller after system seller if you do complete remasters of Zelda games, or do a complete. You know, if they started working on it now, they could get it out by 2020.
What?
$30, like, you could charge $60 for it. It would sell. A DLC for Odyssey. That's basically a mod. You could charge $60 for it. Turns Odyssey into Mario 64. Like, completely. But with Odyssey graphics. Odyssey graphics on Mario 64, it would sell.
I doubt this would ever happen, but Namco Museum on the Switch.
I feel like that's actually very, very likely.
Like Nintendo Museum for Switch.
I mean, they did it. They did it on the 3DS and the Wii U with the NES remix.
Yeah.
Like, Xbox nailed it with Rare Replay. So a game, if they released a collection, maybe as an apology, that might be what they do. Like, when the online releases, they'll say, because we all know Nintendo likes to be a douchebag sometimes. That's what they do.
Yeah.
So maybe what they could do, and it would actually be pretty funny if they did it, and I'm calling it now, they just might do it. In September of this year, when it releases, when the online releases, and they release that first game, that like NES game, that'll probably be like Balloon Trip, or Balloon Fight is what it's called.
Yeah.
It'll be Balloon Fight and Punch Out. Those will be the first games, and they'll be like, all right, sorry for the delay of online and your virtual console. Here's Balloon Fight. Oh, did you not want Balloon Fight? Okay, you can still get Balloon Fight in this brand new remastered for Switch NES Remix collection with all 30 games that are on the NES Classic right at your fingertips for the Nintendo Switch.
And it would be $60 like the NES Classic is.
Oh yeah.
And then they would end up doing an SNES Classic, maybe.
Yeah, but it would just be a game. Like it would still be.
I got you.
Like they could definitely charge more. That's the standard rate. Not a lot of people are gonna pay more than $60 for just a game anymore. Like you're gonna need some form of extension to it if you're gonna want them to pay more for your game. Labo. So yeah, that's my thought on that.
I got you.
All right, I think that's gonna wrap it up. Be sure, remember to subscribe to Psycho Retro's 2 streams on YouTube, if you haven't already. Turn notifications on for any time we post a new video. Be sure to subscribe. Link will be in the description for that RGT85 video. Be sure to subscribe to him if you're not already. Subscribe to Switchforce. Their channel link will be in the description as well. Those are where I get a lot of my information for the Nintendo Switch, so I can bring it out to you guys. So, what that is gonna do it. That's not what I meant to say. Alright, that's gonna do it for us here today. Thank you, Stefano, for joining me on this episode of the Retro Rumble podcast.
Thank you.
From all of us here at Psycho Retros 2 Streams, I'm Psycho Retros 2. Peace out.